name is Lowe. I'm one of the co-founders of Kumasi Hive in Ghana, which is an innovation hub and makerspace. So we're focused on physical product innovation.
Can you tell us why you set up the Kumasi Hive in Ghana?
So we're starting to see a lot of exciting things happen in the hardware scene in Africa. There are a lot of people that I know in Ghana who have been working on innovative hardware projects for quite a long time with very few resources. And we think that by putting in some of the sort of modern maker technology, the kind of thing that you find in maker spaces in the UK and the US, it'll enable people to make prototypes so much faster, learn faster from what they're doing, and really start getting innovations out into the market. And we think it's really important to do this because some of the challenges in Africa, you can't just build an app to get your way out of it. You know, there are issues around infrastructure and clean water and access to power and all these kind of things. You know, you need some actual physical pieces of kit to address some of these challenges. So we think that innovation in this area is really important, and a lot of the products that are designed in the West don't necessarily translate as well to the conditions in Africa. We really see that the local innovators have a huge role to play in designing things that are fit for that environment, and it's so necessary. So there are quite a lot of tech hubs in Ghana and elsewhere in Africa, and I think that's great. But software businesses will employ the educated elite, the people who know how to code, whereas hardware businesses, sure, they start off with the educated elite, but then once they've designed a product and they start making it, it becomes a way to provide employment in the country for people who are relatively low skilled, and so I think that's really important. So one of the hardware businesses we've got in Kumasi Hive at the moment is Dext. They're a team that are making science sets. It's basically a science lab in a box that's about this kind of size, that allows sort of 16-year-old school pupils to actually do experiments for the things they learn about in theory in their science lessons. In Ghana, most of the education budget is spent on salaries, so there's very little left over for labs or practical equipment. So this is solving a real problem. It's the kind of thing that can help capture lots more young people into STEM careers, into understanding getting interested in science and technology. It's an affordable product, so parents can afford to buy it for their children, and since they started selling these commercially just very recently, they actually can't make them fast enough for the orders they're getting. So that's a really exciting young startup business that we've got.
I mean, you talk about that they can't make things fast enough. Is that down to production or funding, or what are the main issues for a tech hardware company to start in Africa? It's a combination of technology and funding. So they needed to get some investment to take their production capability up to the next level. We helped them to get that investment. They're bedding that in now. I don't think that level of output is going to last them for very long. I'm fully expecting that in another 2 or 3 months they're going to need a significantly bigger injection of capital to expand their production facilities and go further. I think that there are definitely, I'm seeing more and more people getting interested in investing in startups in Africa. I think that probably not enough people at the moment think of hardware as one of their investment opportunities. So some people are interested in software. We see a lot of people interested in agribusinesses in one way or another. Hardware isn't the top of people's list, but I think there are really big opportunities coming up there. Do you think there's any specific reasons why people don't find hardware as investable as other tech businesses, or is it just it's not as widely invested in?
I think that historically there haven't been as many opportunities in hardware because the barriers to setting up a hardware business are higher. So, you know, anyone with a laptop and some time can set up a software business. But since I've moved to Ghana recently, I'm meeting, you know, team after team who have really innovative ideas in hardware and who haven't been able to build a prototype for the lack of a couple of $100 worth of components that they need to be able to buy in from other countries. So we're trying to plug that gap, and there are some other organisations around the continent also trying to plug that gap. There have been some attention now coming into developing sort of hardware accelerator programs across the continent and things like that. So I really think that it's now getting the attention that means that in the next year or two we're going to see a lot more opportunities coming through.
Can you tell us some more about your campaign that you're going to launch for some funding?
So we're launching a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign to try and raise £10,000 for additional equipment for our makerspace. For the startups that we're working with, having access to good quality rapid prototyping equipment is really important. And the biggest item on our wish list is to get a laser cutter. So the crowdfunding campaign is going live this week, and that's going to be running throughout May to raise that funding.
And what kind of rewards will the investors get?
So we've got a range of rewards on the crowdfunding campaign, including some Adinkra symbols made in our makerspace on the laser cutter, and including also some opportunities to get privileged access to startups who might be looking for funding, and also to vote in a competition as to which startup team should receive some seed funding to make their idea a reality.
And since your time in Ghana, have you been able to find enough skilled people for Kumasi Hive?
So we are finding enough skilled people. The challenge that we have is that there are really good practically skilled people and there are really good theoretically skilled people, and there are far fewer people who have both skill sets. But that's something that we're really trying to overcome with the Hive by bringing those groups of people together. So people who've got sort of vocational experience and know how to, you know, weld and, you know, manipulate bits of metal, with the mechanical engineers, you know, degree level educated, who understand the theory, have done a lot of, you know, computational design and so on, but haven't done as much practical work. And so we're bringing those two groups together, and we think that some quite interesting things are coming out of that interaction.
And finally, what do you think is the long-term potential for hardware businesses in Africa?
I think that in the long term, there is massive potential for hardware businesses in Africa. I think that so many of the challenges on the continent need physical products and hardware as part of the solution. I think that, you know, we all know that the middle class in Africa is growing, that there are more and more people who you know, are consuming class and buying products for themselves. We're seeing increasing levels of foreign investment, so that, you know, businesses are looking for equipment and hardware and things like that. I think that the potential is massive.
Great. And where can our readers find out some more about Kumasi Hive?
So Kumasi Hive, we have a website at kumasihive.com, and for our crowdfunding campaign you can search Kumasi Hive on Kickstarter.